Another Brick fan here with a look at all of the LEGO sets released for Avengers Endgame. As you can see, there are 5 different sets, and these ranged in price from $20 all the way up to $100. I've reviewed each of these sets individually, and I've put all of those links in the comment section below. Let's take a look at all the sets built up together. Here you can see all of the sets built. On the right hand side of the screen you see the Quinjet. Right behind that is Iron Man's Hall of Armor. Next to Iron Man's Hall of Armor is the Avengers Compound Battle. In front of that is War Machine Buster. In front of that is the motorcycle from Captain America Outriders Attack. And then you can see the various minifigures that go with the sets standing up there next to them. We're going to take a close look at each of the sets and then come back to this. Let's take a closer look at the sets by starting with the Polybag set. This is Iron Man and Dumb E. As you can see, Iron Man is in the white Avengers uniform, and there's some trans blue pieces representing the repulsor lifts in his hands and feet. He does come with a stand showing him in flight. And then the secondary build with this is Dumb E, which is the small robot that Tony has in his workshop. In this case, Dummy's got a little welding torch or blowtorch. A very simple set. It is interesting to note that this is the only time you get Tony Stark in the white Avengers uniform. Almost all of the other Avengers in this series have the white uniform, with the exception of the ones in the Avengers Compound Battle. Let's go ahead and move on to the next set. This is the motorcycle from Captain America Outriders Attack. As I mentioned in the opening, this is really out of scale. It's way too large to be minifigure sized, but it's large to give it some additional play features. For example, it has the tile shooters, one on each side in the front. It has lots of space for extra weapons, along with all of these trans orange blast and beam pieces that come as a set. You can see that the flame pieces are used in the exhaust ports to show off the motorcycle really accelerating or showing a lot of power. The cycle, since it is so big, is actually quite stable. It's very easy to roll around and move. The stickers that are used on the motorcycle are very good. They look really nice and fit very well with the motorcycle theme itself. Let's take a look at the 4 minifigures that came along with this set. Here are the 4 minifigures that come with Captain America Outriders Attack. As you can see, Captain America has his shield and helmet and is in the white Avengers uniform. The big complaint on Captain America is that he has a blue head and that the face printing on that head is really bad. The blue shows through an awful lot and makes it kind of a mucky color, like a ashen gray color. You can see that 2 of the Outriders that come with this set have the attachment for the 4 arms that go on the back. In this case, they're using the larger pieces for the arms and the claw pieces on each end to add a little more menace to the Outriders. The other Outrider simply comes with the claws and then an armor piece, so he's presumably some kind of squad leader or troop commander or something like that. So you do get the 2 different types of Outriders, and I think, honestly, 4 minifigures is a really good amount of minifigures for this particular set, especially since it's only a $20 set. Next up is War Machine Buster. This is a really good mech. And I'm not a huge fan of mechs, but this one actually turned out really nice. I like all the additional weapons. There's a 6-stud shooter on his right shoulder and some flick fire missiles on his left shoulder. There's a stud shooter on each of his wrists. And it looks fantastic from the front with the different stickers and molding that it's done. I especially like those big shield pieces on his knees. From the back, it's not quite as well polished or finished. You can see that there's a lot of exposed anti-studs on the back. And then you see the control for spinning the 6-shooter But overall, a really nice figure. I think it's a little bit nicer than the Hulk Buster armor that came out last year. And it's on almost exactly the same scale and actually built quite similarly. In my opinion, this one's a little bit nicer than that one. This set also comes with 4 minifigures. So you get Ant-Man, War Machine, both in their white Avengers uniform, and then 2 types of Outriders. So you get that Troop Commander or Team Commander, one you saw in Captain America Outrider Attack with the claws and shoulder armor piece. And then the more standard Outrider that we saw last year in the Infinity War sets with that same back clip piece but the smaller arms. You notice the back of War Machine has a 1x2 with a clip that is attached using one of the clear dual stud pieces that fits over his head. This is so he can put a stud shooter over his shoulder and hold one in his hand, which those stud shooters come out of the mech's hands. So when he's not in the mech, he can pull those stud shooters off. I think the Ant-Man helmet is really good. The bodies are all the same for these Avengers characters. They all have the good printing on it across the torso, running all the way down the legs in front and all the way down to the feet or boots in the front. So really nice prints, and we get to see an awful lot of them in this series. Next up we have Iron Man Hall of Armor. This set is really good. I'm glad they built this. It's all designed as modules. Each of these little armor alcoves are connected and pretty much built the same way. They can be stacked on top of each other or clipped together as you see here. It has the trans blue glass in the back, and then the 3 center alcoves actually have stickers. They're a little difficult to see since they're transparent, but you see there's the Mark V armor, the Mark I armor, and then a screen showing the party protocol. There's a satellite dish on top which rotates around, allows for little play features, and then of course a ladder to get up to the second story. There's an armor equipping frame. There's arms there that help Tony put on the armor, which was needed in some of his older suits. You can see his desk there is set up with some computer monitors. And then in the alcoves there are some additional tools, a blaster, an energy sword, and a jetpack, all shown here. So overall, a lot of good playability and nice features with this set. And it's highly configurable, as I said, so this is a very good set to have and display your Iron Man minifigures if you have a bunch of them. The set comes with 6 minifigures, including 4 sets of Iron Man armor. So this includes the Mark I, you see on the far left there, the Mark V, or the suitcase armor, the Mark 41 armor, which was used a lot in Iron Man 3, and then the current Mark 50 armor that he wears in Infinity War and in Endgame. The Mark 1 armor has a normal helmet with no flip-up front, but the rest of them all have the flip-up front. There is only one actual minifigure head for Tony Stark in this set. He is currently in the Mark 50 armor. The others are just clear minifigure heads since they're used to represent empty armor. Looking on the backs of these, I want to point out the nice detailing on the back of the Mark I armor. You see a lot of exposed gears, and it looks like it was built out of spare parts, which is absolutely appropriate because that's exactly what was done with it in the movie. This set also comes with 2 Outriders. These again are the same as the other Outriders we saw in other sets, with the nice gold printing on the black bodies, menacing face printed in gold and red, and then they have the backpack pieces on with the smaller clip arms that go on them. There is some nice detailing on the back of the head, which I like. It keeps it from being too plain, since it is simply a black minifigure head, so obviously no alternate face for these since they don't have hair or helmet to cover that up. And then you see those backpack pieces that have the 4 attachment points on them. Were new pieces that were released last year. The Hall of Armor also comes with Igor, which is Tony Stark's utility suit for heavy lifting. I like the stickers that they used on this keeps for a very nice industrial look. Fits a minifigure quite well, actually. The back of the figure is quite plain with a lot of exposed anti-studs. Has a very unfinished look, but that's okay because most of the time you're going to be looking at this figure from the front anyway. He does have ball joints on all of his joints, so around the hips, knees, elbows, and shoulders, which allow for a lot of articulation. Has the standard four-fingered hand you see in most LEGO mechs. And then the toes move up and down just a little bit to allow him to get good balance. I know I've heard some people commented that didn't really like this figure. For me, it's actually pretty nice. Dummy is also included with the Iron Man Hall of Armor. This is the version from the first Iron Man movie where he was tasked with putting out any fires that might happen during the testing of the armor. I love how they use the white cone piece to represent a dunce cap on him. A simple little build, but effective one. It looks really good and really accurate. I like the use of the Technic pieces and the black studs on the bottom to represent the wheels and treads that Dummy moved around on. And then the fact that he has the 2 or 3 articulating points allow you to position him in a lot of different ways, and the clip allows him to hold a variety of minifig accessories. This is the Ultimate Quinjet, my favorite set in the series. I really like the shaping of this model, the color scheme that was used, and all the little detailing from the silver vents to the trans orange pieces that are used to create the highlights in the engines, as well as the canopy pieces. It looks really good from all angles. I like the contrast where they use the gray on the bottom as opposed to the blue-black on top. There is a back bay here that holds a 6-stud shooter as well as a little 3-wheeled motorcycle. Overall, just a well done set. There are stud shooters in the front as well on the jet that allow for a little bit more play feature, but its main weapon is the 6-stud shooter that comes out of the back. Here's a quick look at the 3-wheeled motorcycle or vehicle that comes with the set. I like how their shape is done in the front with that trans blue piece and then the black piece. Those are both the same slope piece, so they fit together, make a really nice angle in the front. The back is completely smooth, so the only way to attach a minifigure is by having that minifig clip on to the handlebars. The 3 wheels make it really stable and easy to roll around, and makes for a nice little play feature with it being very maneuverable and easy to roll around. There are 2 stud shooters on the front for a little extra playability, and then that's about it. Pretty simple little build and holds 1 minifigure. It allows someone to drive out of the back of the Quinjet. This set comes with 4 Avengers. From left to right is Black Widow, Hawkeye, Rocket Raccoon, and finally Thor. Again, all of these are in the identical white Avengers uniform. Each is carrying their unique weapon. This is Stormbreaker for Thor. Rocket Raccoon has his brick-built blaster, Hawkeye with a bow and arrow, and Black Widow with the trans blue bar pieces for batons. Moving around the back, you see the nice sculpting around Rocket's head for the armor around his shoulders, his tail, and then the back printing on these Avengers uniform is just as good as the printing on the front. There are alternate faces for Thor, Hawkeye, and Black Widow. If you want to see these figures more closely, you can look at my full review of the Quinjet set that I'll link up here in this card. The set comes with 2 Centauri warriors. They have some very maniacal grins on their faces. I think the face prints are really good. They each have these brick-built blasters that have a little ray gun as its core, and then these gold pieces that fit on top, along with the trans purple cone for the blaster tip in the front. They have these good prints on the back, which continue the gold printing from the front and kind of represent a small helmet that they're wearing. The back printing is also quite good. Both these figures are identical in this set. Just provides the bad guys for this Quinjet set. Last up, we have the Avengers Compound Battle. As you can see from the front, there's two major sections to this. First is the garage on your left, and then to the right is the main work and living area. You see the work area coming up here. There's an Avengers logo on the side. There is a spring shooter on the top that you can actually aim that in many directions, and it does move up and down slightly. Moving around to the back, you have a conference room or meeting area where they can sit at a table and have some drinks and talk about their strategies. Down in the lower left corner there is the Infinity Gauntlet behind some security bars, and then a computer that's used to analyze the Infinity Gauntlet. This is the back of the garage. You notice there's a couple of wedge pieces there to stop the car from rolling out the back. It does fit just barely. It's just barely wide enough and long enough to fit the car that comes with this set. On this side, you also see the satellite dish, and then there are additional stud shooters on top of the garage for additional defense. And then there is a gate out front in the yellow and black with a couple of warning lights in it. The compound is actually a nice build. Has some nice little play features as well as some stickers and other things. The Infinity Gauntlet can actually be pulled out from the side. You see that little bar piece hanging out the side there. And you can pull the whole Infinity Gauntlet out all as one piece. This set comes with two vehicles. One is this helicopter, which is a relatively simple build with a small windshield. And then the dual rotor. No rotors on the back. It does have a 6-stud shooter on the front. It has a clip on the side. This helicopter is piloted by Nebula, so it holds Nebula's sword there. I do like the design of this back of the helicopter. I like how they use the angled pieces with the clips on them so that they can be set up however you want to make kind of an interesting tail look. It looks really good to me, and you can position those however you'd like. The other side has another clip piece that's holding a fire extinguisher, because you can never have too many fire extinguishers. The engines are actually done in silver, and then you might be able to just barely see the printing on the wedge piece for the control panel for the helicopter. The other vehicle that comes with this set is a small car build, which I think looks pretty good, especially from the front. I like this grille that they put on that allows them to use it as a battering ram or rock pusher. In the front, the small trans black or trans charcoal colored windscreen is good. In the back, you see there's a turret that allows a minifigure to stand up, and there's a targeting computer there so you can shoot the stud shooters that are in the back. The doors do not open. Those are solid walls, but they do have the Avengers logo on each side. From the back, you could see the license plate. License plate number in the city sets is usually the set number, but in this case, they went away from that and chose a different license plate. So this is a nice little accessory to add to the set. Allows for a little bit of play with the stud shooters, and of course, who doesn't like to have a car to drive around? It only seats one minifigure. There's one seat there aligned in the middle of the car. The set comes with 4 minifigures. You can see that she comes with these trans orange accessories to represent the energy bolts that she can shoot out of her hands. It also shows her flying using the same energy bolts. So there's a trans orange satellite dish there on the bottom that allows you to have this figure standing and looking like it's flying, and then positioning the arms. There are different trans orange accessories, so you can change out which ones you use. These are the same accessories that you saw in the Captain America Outrider attack, the ones that were on the motorcycle, and you can use these in whatever combination you want. I think the red, blue, and gold printing on the uniform is really good. As you notice, she is not in the white Avengers jumpsuit, just in her standard costume. So this is pretty much the same figure that we got in the Captain Marvel jet set from the Captain Marvel movie. The other 3 minifigures are Iron Man in his Mark 50 suit, Nebula in the white Avengers uniform, and then an Outrider with the standard smaller arms and back piece. This is the same Outrider we've seen in several of the sets. You also see a Nano figure there. That is Ant-Man in his smaller form. Ant-Man and Iron Man are the only figures we get more than once in this entire wave. All of the other Avengers we just get one of. Moving around to the back, you see the nice head printing on both the Outrider and on Nebula. The Nano fig does not have any printing on the back at all. It's only printed on the front. However, the helmet is still silver all the way around, which is a decent representation of Ant-Man's helmet. This set comes with two big figures. This includes the Hulk in his standard dark blue or purple pants. I think the face print is interesting on this. He has not really a battle face on to me. It looks more like a kind of semi-smiling face. Maybe it's eager anticipation for getting into the battle. He does have the really good hair print, which I think is very accurate to the figure. The back of this figure is pretty plain. Of course, there's no real distinguishing markings on Hulk. He's just big and green. So I think it's pretty accurate. The pose is kind of crouched down to me, but I think this is pretty standard for all LEGO Big Figs. They're pretty much made out of the same mold and just colored differently and have different prints on them. Finally, with this set, we get Thanos. He's carrying a big hammer as his weapon. I think the coloring is nice with the gray uniform, the gold helmet, and then purple arms and face. I like the printing on the sides of his arms here, although it's in a slightly brighter gold than the helmet. In the movie, I think these matched up a little better, and all his armor pieces were the same color. Like the Hulk, the back is pretty plain with just the regular shaping of the big fig. The other arm has the same prints as the arm we just looked at, with kind of the gold shoulder piece and gold wrist piece. He is able to put the Infinity Gauntlet on, so if you take the Infinity Gauntlet out of the security storage in the Avengers compound, he can wear the gauntlet, although it only comes with 2 of the Infinity Stones. In fact, from this wave, you only get 2 total Infinity Stones. You do not get all 6 of them like you did last year with the Infinity War sets. So that wraps up the sets. Let's go take a look at them all together one last time. Summing it all up, this is a great wave of sets from LEGO. There's a lot of concepts taken out of Avengers Endgame, but of course, not very many spoilers, so some of these sets, I really appreciate them building. So the Iron Man Hall of Armor was a very great set, and it's very modular, allows you to move a lot of pieces around and expand. So that's a fantastic set to get. Far and away, my favorite set is the Quinjet. It's an excellent build. The color scheme is great, the shaping is excellent, and it just looks fantastic here in LEGO form. Next to that, it's probably a toss-up between the War Machine Buster and the Avengers Compound Attack. So I suppose if I had to rank these, I would put my first choice would be the Quinjet, then Iron Man's Hall of Armor, War Machine Bash, and Avengers Compound Battle are toss-up to me, and then the motorcycle is certainly my least favorite, although it does have its charms. I really do like the disc shooters. I like the extra weapons on it and all of the styling with the trans orange pieces. It's just way out of proportion and is kind of strange how they built such a gigantic motorcycle for this set. So I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on all of these sets, and I hope you take a look at the individual reviews I did on each of the sets. I'm going to get started on my next video. Happy building! If you enjoyed this video, click the like button and subscribe to see more of my content. To be alerted when new videos are posted, click the bell button.